Alright shredders, we're going to have another look at drop-offs today. We're going to look at some common mistakes, and along the way I'm going to help my Lynn out with my Lynn. I'm going to help my friend Lynn out with her technique as well. Alright, so what we'll get you to do first of all is just to see if you can do a drop-off off this curb behind us, and then I can get an idea of where you're at and what we need to have a look at. Okay. So I've got this slow-mo of you here. It's basically right, like you're pushing your arms forward and your weight's coming back a bit, but what would be good to get you to do is to push your arms further forward, which has the effect of making your weight go further back.
Okay.
So this is basically like the motion that we do for a manual, where you bring your hips down and then back, but we're not really looking to lift the front wheel as such.
Right.
We just need to make sure the weight's in the right place to do the drop off. And what happens when you bring your weight down and then back is that you end up pushing the bike forward with your arms, and so you can see how that's going to put your weight in the right place to keep the front wheel up as you go off of a drop off. So you need to, so what you're doing is just kind of doing this.
Yeah.
So what you want to be doing is coming down and then back. Yeah, exactly. So just think about coming almost as if you're going to sit on your saddle and then going back. Yeah, exactly like that. Yes. That's it. Yeah, that was really good. That is exactly, I could see you had the push forward and the front wheel was being unweighted, and I guess that's how it felt as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Definitely felt a little lighter in the front end.
Wicked. Yeah. All right, then let's take it back to the curb and see how you get on doing it off something. I mean, it doesn't matter that it's small, it's a perfect place to practice, because there's no consequence, and you can practice making sure you've got that weight transfer correct and your timing's correct. That's really funny. Now that you've got something to go at, you've kind of regressed to the not so strong a movement. So, but it's just going to take a bit of practice. So just keep at it and just really think about bringing those hips down and back as the front wheel comes to the edge of the curb.
Okay.
Yes, that was looking really good. Like the first one was mint. So what I would say is you could leave it a tiny bit later, but also if you go a little bit faster.
Yeah.
And then what we're aiming for is to get both the wheels landing on the ground at the same time. Yeah.
I think there's an element there of moving the hips back, but not so much of the down.
Yeah.
Sort of one movement backwards, not the down and back.
Yeah, yeah.
With the hips, so.
What happens when you go a little bit faster and when the drop's a little bit bigger is actually that you need to do less and less, and it gets to the point where actually all you do really is kind of push the bike forward.
Yeah.
And so, but dialing in that technique to begin with, so you've got an idea of, well, kind of what it's supposed to feel like at the front of the bike, is really useful.
Yeah.
So as time goes on, I'd actually expect to see less of a down and then a back, and more of a sort of back and it's more about the push forward almost.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to explain.
I think it helps to think about the hips though, to start, because I think there's an element where you could just straighten your arms.
Yeah, and it's.
But your hips actually stay at the same height.
Yeah.
Rather than actually making sure
they're sort of sliding back.
Yeah.
It's
rather
basically
just straightening the arms in front.
It's like
what I could imagine doing when it's scary.
Yeah, it's kind of like two different ways of looking at achieving the same thing. So if you slide your hips back, the bike has to go forward, and if you push your arms forward, the bike's also going forward. So you know, some people just think about it in different ways, but it's the end result is the same.
I think sometimes I get to the top of the drop off and try and jump, like not jump, but like do a little hop, just to try and lift the bike off rather than actually just roll off it, but keep the front wheel high rather than the front wheel falling down. And it's really, it's much better technique, I would imagine, than trying to jump off something that you don't necessarily want to jump off.
There's two techniques. So you can, what I would normally say is if the landing is flat or relatively flat, is to do what we're doing now, which is where you're sliding hips back and pushing the arms forward, which brings you quite low to the bike as well, and that helps to keep the front wheel up. It just keeps the front wheel level. And then if your drop off is to a downslope, like quite a steep downslope, it can be useful to hop off of it, but you're just doing the tiniest little preload and just picking up with the front wheel, and that requires a little bit more speed. Typically a drop off like that is going to have a bit more speed, so the input you need to put in, the input needed is less. Yeah. So but if you come up to something quite slowly and try and pick up and bend the arms, the front wheel's just going to drop straight back down.
Yeah, so for me it's always going to be slower. I'm not at this stage yet that I think I would be carrying enough speed to successfully pick up, and so keeping the wheel level is a really interesting technique to actually approach something without so much speed, because that's what can be tricky sometimes.
Okay, well that's good, because that actually leads into something else I was going to say, which is that it's good to practice the low speed sort of push forward. It's almost like your arms are going sort of up and forwards, because obviously if they went down and forwards, that's not going to work, as you were talking about just a minute ago. So it's almost like an upward arc. But the thing with that is, if you've practiced that technique, a slow technique, if ever you come up to a drop off in the trail, a blind one where you didn't realise it was a drop off, like let's say it's, you know, just this tall, but you can't really roll it, you come to it, at least you know you can just quickly go whoa. All right, so now we've been seeing some good progression on the curb with the right weight distribution and the pushing the arms out forward. We've come up to this wall which has different levels of height. This is kind of like the ultimate goal. See if we can do this one successfully today, but we'll have a go in a slightly more natural setting with things in the landing. You know, it's not perfectly smooth like on the tarmac, and yeah, we'll see how you get on. So one common mistake with drop-offs is getting to the end and braking at the last minute, and then you're too close and the front wheel pitches over, and that's curtains for you. So it's best to try, if you're going to do any braking, do it well in advance. And then on the flip side of that, something which Lynn's not doing is just covering the brakes. It's good to cover the brakes so that once you've come off the end and you're in your landing, you're ready to slow down. Like here, we've got a few things to get to sort of negotiate around. So no sudden last minute braking, but do have the brakes covered so that you're ready for what comes afterwards. So yeah, that was really good. So your front wheel did land a little bit before the back one had left the obstacle, but because you'd made the motion to get the front wheel up, it wasn't like you pitched forwards loads. What I'd suggest is if you take a slightly longer run up, put it in a slightly harder gear, so you can put in like 2 or 3 good cranks, because when it's in an easy gear, you'll really you have to quite unsettle the bike to get going, and then you can just stand on the bike, be nice and ready in your ready position, come in and you're ready, and then you can just do what you need to do. Yeah. So that's also can be a common mistake, is trying to start the drop off too close, you know, with not enough run up, and so you're not in that ready position. You're not just nice and relaxed and ready to go. Yeah, definitely get in there. Yes, nice. That was really cool. That was a bit better, like with a bit more setup time, because you've come from a bit further away, so you're just a bit more ready, aren't you? And I saw both the wheels were landing at the same time pretty much, and it just looked better. How'd it feel?
Yeah, it definitely felt even on the landing.
Yeah,
not
wicked.
That front wheel, back wheel.
Awesome, that's cool.
Bit of extra speed felt good actually.
So do you fancy moving to the next one along, trying a slightly taller one, and see how you go? And then hopefully with a little bit more space, you should then really start to feel the 2 wheels landing together, I reckon.
Okay.
It's always worth just coming to have a little look, so you know what you're going to be seeing as you go off and where you might go once you've landed. Yeah. Another common mistake with drop-offs can be to really focus on the front wheel and the edge of the drop. At the point that your front wheel has arrived here, you need actually to be looking down at the landing to see where you're going to go. Yeah, that was real good. Nice, that was really cool. So the only thing I'd say is I just had a little look at the video, and you did say yourself it was a little bit late, which I'd agree with, and it just looked a little bit like you could have pushed forward more forcefully or slid the hips back more forcefully. There was just, as you came off, I'd say your arms were just, there could have just been a bit more amplitude, shall we say. So you're not trying to bring the wheel up, you just want to push it and slide the hips back, so it's like this, but just with a bit more amplitude.
Yeah, a bit more confidence.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, that was well good. So what I liked about that was it looked like Lynn maybe slowed down a little bit more than she maybe needed to. So what she did was a really good, strong push forward, and that meant that it was all good. She landed both the wheels on the ground together, Absolutely perfect. Yes! Oh, that was so good! Nice one, that was so good. Like, looks so solid. Yeah, I'm well stoked for you. That's wicked. And but you did brake a little bit before, I think.
I did.
Yeah.
There was a slight panic brake, but more speed in general.
Yeah.
And it just helps you commit more.
Yeah.
For sure.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's well good. Right, I think you're ready for the big one. Okay. So I'm going to give this drop a try first, and it's really blind from here, so I've got fixed in my head. I know what it looks like, so that when I get to the edge, I know what I'm going to see, and it's not going to make me panic or fear for my life. So that's really useful, a really good thing to do. If you find when you come back you can't see what's there, walk to the edge, look down, fix in your mind what you're going to see so that you know what to expect. So let's give it a try. Have a horrible run in here, but we'll give it a try. Oh, like a boss. So just check out this clip that I took of Lynn about 3 days ago, and look how she's progressed. That's so cool. I'm so stoked. I'm so pleased with you. We've seen some absolutely brilliant progression this morning. Like, your weight transfer's now really good. Seeing you go off the biggest drop on this little wall, absolutely brilliant. So thanks very much for being my student today.
Thank you very much.
That's quite all right.
Absolutely brilliant, and much better than just rolling off it and front wheel down and trying not to go over the handlebars.
Yeah.
Just keeping that front wheel level has been really helpful.
Cool, wicked. Yeah. So hopefully that's been helpful for you as well, and of course if you've got any questions, don't forget to leave them in the comments below, and otherwise I'll just say thanks very much and see you next time.